This is the Sports Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Campbell Diamond. And yes, it's a double duty day for me. We have episode 6 and two of my good friends who love to talk about sports. Both played sports throughout their high school and into college careers. Now they have their own Twitch stream, gaming, uh, uploads, whatever these people call it now. I invoke and trust them that they could also make a YouTube channel of their own to boost up their viewership in the few couple months during this quarantine. But Chief to Gaming, as in Chief apostrophe D Gaming, two of my good friends, Matthew DeMarco and Michael Cooper. Guys, my brothers, I've grown up with you guys. I've known you guys for a long time in our town. I mean, close and tight-knit community. Even closer with this quarantine, I guess you could say, being home with your families. But tell us a little bit about both of yourselves, sports teams-wise, gaming-wise as well, because I know you guys love to game, I guess. But just give our viewers here on Sports Talk Podcast, wherever everyone's watching or listening on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever. But tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Oh, you got it. All right, so I'm Matt DeMarco, as Campbell said. First of all, Campbell, thank you for having us here today. Really appreciate it. So like Campbell said, I played sports whole life, baseball, football, wrestling. Played at Lyndhurst High School. Majoring in physical education. And like Campbell said, yeah, we're trying to start something up. Still there, Campbell?
Yeah. Keep going.
All right, cool. So yeah, we're trying to start something up. Start up a little business idea I had since high school called Chief. That's today behind us. And yeah, we're just trying to, like Campbell said, we come from a tight-knit community. That's what we're trying to do here, bring everyone together. So we figured quarantine, all our friends, we're all sitting at home game. Let's try and make something out of it. So we're just trying to make a team out of it.
So Campbell, thank you for having us. Like Matt said, I'm Michael Cooper. Like you said, I did football and wrestling as well in high school, and I went on to play football at Del Val. They won 3 conference championships. But yeah, like Matt said, we were sitting at a PlayStation party one day, and we wound up getting here. We're just saying, I said, I want to start a business. I just don't know what I want to do. And he's like, I always wanted to start Chief from high school. And I was like, I'll hop in on it with you, and we'll see where it goes. And we just been playing video games, and so we thought adding the Chief Gaming was a good idea, and it's hopefully something we can build on. It's something that everybody's really into now, so definitely hopefully something we can piggyback off of.
That's very good. And I know the naming of your so-called business is named after some sort of person that's sitting right next to you. How did that name come about, Matt? Was it just like an influence or just like a childhood nickname, or did any of your friends from around you just called that? Or
yeah, I've got asked this question a lot. I had to make a new Instagram when I was freshman or sophomore year. Couldn't think of a name. Watched the video. Not now, Chief. I'm in the zone, and I was like, yeah, boom, let's go, Chief DeMarco. And then it just kind of ran off. People started calling me Chief or whatever, and then I don't know, the Chief apostrophe D works, Chief DeMarco, Chief, whatever. But yeah, so that's how it came about.
That's good. So let's talk about the NFL here. I know both of you like separate teams as well as myself. With myself being a New York Football Giants fan. Cooper, I know you are a Minnesota Vikings fan, the keeper bears of the National Football Conference North Division, and of course, Matt, you are the fan of the black and gold, the keepers of the Allegheny River in west of Pennsylvania, the 6-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. So, guys, I gotta say, with these two divisions, with the Browns and the Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers division and the Chicago Bears, or as we all have to say, the Bears in the NFC North with the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and of course, Coop, your Minnesota Vikings. So, uh, DeMarco, I will start off with you about your Steelers. How do you think they'll fit this year with probably a good cause of a season? Because, I mean, you look at them last year, they got rattled with injuries. They looked good so far in the year, but that Big Ben got hurt, and then you put in Mason Rudolph, and he had that scary injury last year. And then, of course, that incident what happened with the Browns and all that chaos, and that kind of boiled up a little frustration with the team from Ohio and your Steelers. And now you have MVP, aka Action Jackson Lamar, with them and the Baltimore Ravens, who surprisingly did go out early in the divisional round to the surprising Tennessee Titans and what a run they had. But let's talk about how the Steelers could look good this year with Big Ben, of course, back, Juju, James Conner. I'm a huge James Conner fan. Great story. I mean, he's from the area. He went to Pitt. He plays for the Steelers. It's such a great happening. But how can you see the Steelers look good this year? And
So honestly, I don't see why division championship is not out of the reach. They know the Ravens. Yes, Lamar and the Ravens are at the top right now. The Ravens went out, got Calais Campbell. That makes their defense that much scarier. But Big Ben's coming back. They drafted young, nice wide receiver, Chase Claypool, from Notre Dame. I like that to try and give Juju some help. They got Deontay Johnson. They got James Washington, both young guys who can contribute, help Ben. Ben can help them grow. And I think the biggest signing was Eric Ebron out of Detroit. Ben hasn't had a real tight end since Heath Miller. And when he had Heath Miller, they were unstoppable. He needs that security blanket. He needs that target in the middle of the field. And I think with Eric Ebron, that's going to give him some comfort. And on the defensive side, I don't see why they shouldn't be a top 5 defense in the league. They got arguably maybe the best pass edge rushers in football last year. Joe Hayden, Steven Nelson up last year and got him. So they know how the Ravens play. They were able to shut down Lamar last year without Ben. They went to overtime with them, missed a field goal, lost the game by 3. But, I think they should be good. And talking about the Browns a little bit, I just think the Browns are still just, I don't know, they're a little bit of a circus,
Mm-hmm. I can totally agree with that. So now, Coop, let's talk about the Vikings here. You have the Bears, who are just like, I mean, they're in like a whirlwind of a team with Mitchell Trubisky, and I mean, what he's gonna be. I mean, everyone thought he was gonna be. Oh, he went to North Carolina. He was gonna be this big stud of a quarterback, picked before, I believe, Deshaun Watson in that draft, with that draft of Jared Goff and stuff. And I believe Carson went to 2. And then you have the Packers with, of course, Aaron Rodgers still at the helm, Super Bowl champion, former MVP. And then you have the Lions with the lost cause of that franchise, trying to fix them with Matt Stafford at the quarterback position. And then you have the Vikings, of course, with Kirk Cousins at the helm. And where can you see them? Because they did get rid of Stephon Diggs last year and him now at the Bills. And where can you see the Vikings go forward this year to try and contend for a division championship? Because surprisingly, they did upset the heavily favored New Orleans Saints last year as well in the playoffs. But where do you think the Vikings can go from here?
I think the division championship definitely is a possibility. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, anything can really happen because he could just honestly do it all. But with the Vikings and Diggs, I love Stephon Diggs. He brought the Minneapolis Miracle. But I'm happy he's with the Bills. We had with the pick we got from the Bills from Diggs, we got Justin Jefferson, which I think is a great replacement for him, and he'll be a great second guy to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's gonna have to really show what he can do now without Diggs, without that second guy. But I think he'll be all right. And the Vikings defense is always strong. Anthony Barr holding it down in the middle. So I'm not really worried about I'm not worried about the Bears or the Lions. I mean, the Bears are one field goal away. Everybody knows the Bears and their field goal kickers.
Yeah.
And I like Matthew Stafford on the Lions, but I think his time's up, and I think that team's time is running out, and they're going to have to start over and change something up over there. But I do think the Vikings have a solid shot at winning that division.
Yeah. Also, I mean, if you look at my team, the New York Football Giants, I mean, they had a good draft last year, and they got some key components with Pat Barry, Blake Martinez, formerly of the Packers, and then I mean, you have that receiver core with Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Golden Tate, perhaps one of my favorite college football players back when he played for Notre Dame. And then you have Saquon in the backfield for Matt's favorite college football team, Penn State. Darren Jones in the reins with the quarterback duties, second year quarterback at Duke. And I will judge this because many people say that they have the Giants off their radar. Just give them a couple years. But I think they could play spoiler because if you look at the Eagles, they have a boatload of holes. Yes, they do have Carson Wentz, and I mean the receiver core. I mean, is there with Zach Ertz and company. The running back situation, the defense situation, and they also got Jalen Hurts, the second round pick as well. And also you have the Redskins with I call the Ohio State trio with now Chase Young, Dwayne Haskins, Terry McLaurin. Then you got a couple Alabama guys and like Landon Collins. And you look now with the Dallas Cowboys, and they had a great draft. Drafting, I think, arguably the best wide receiver in that class, CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. And then you add that receiver core with Gallup and Amari Cooper, and you have Zeke in the backfield with that great offensive line. It's Dak Prescott doing the quarterback duties, and then you have that stellar defense. And I'm very optimistic about it this year because I think if it's the same old Cowboys, either one of these division teams are going to be playing spoiler because now you have three wild card games instead of two wild card games, and I think it could be a fight to the finish if any representation of each division can be a wild card spot. But also, I do see the Cowboys winning the division. And let's move on a bit with baseball. And we'll save NBA for last. But let's talk about it first. Coop, I'll give you the floor first, and I'll give Matt the floor because we have to save Matt's team for last. So, Coop, let's talk about the Mets here.
Last, Campbell.
Yeah, best for last. Let's talk about the Mets here. I mean, you guys got a couple key acquisitions in pitching with Porcello by way of Senior Prep School in West Orange, New Jersey. I mean, you guys took Dylan Betances away from the Yankees, which is very surprising. So he doesn't have to move out of the city to come play for the team in Queens. A stellar lineup, I guess you could say. Very underrated, appreciative lineup because of what they looked like in the second half of the year. I remember all those snap stories, people going to net Mets games, you guys going to some games last year. I mean, this team looked destined to go to the playoffs as the wild card, but fortunately the Brewers were too good, of course, with Yelich. And then what happened to Yelich at the end of the year stunk for them. But, Coop, where can you see the Mets going in the future?
I feel like they're at least a playoff team, whether they win the division, or they get in by a wild card. I feel like they're at least a playoff contender. They just have a good lineup up and down. Alonzo, McNeil, Conforto, Granderson's back. The pitching staff is incredible. You said the acquisition of Tansis, Porcello, and granted, it stinks that Syndergaard's hurt. He's going to be out for the year. But obviously, with the acquisition of Stroman in the middle of last season, and of course, one and only best pitcher in New York, above Garrett Cole, Jacob deGrom, running New York, king of New York. But yeah, I think they have a legitimate shot, and see where it takes them. They're going to be a fun team to watch, young team, just like the Yankees, though. So New York's in tune for a great couple of years in the future of baseball. New York's going to be a very lucky state, and the tri-state area will be as well.
Yeah, I mean, now we got AL East teams playing NL East teams, and I keep saying my team for another episode previously. I don't want to rerun talking about them because of what they've had to suffer, because I'll say that for another day. But Matt, let's talk about the boys, not the baby bombers anymore. I think they're grown up now.
Oh, yeah,
The Bronx Bombers, the Evil Empire, the Yanks, the guys in the pinstripes. They play where the house that Jeter built in the Bronx, the 27-time world champion New York Yankees. And before I give you the floor on this, I'm going to tell you right now, it is World Series or bust for the Yankees. And I can run down their whole lineup right now. But I'll give you the floor on that because I know you know as I know. I mean, I can pick apart their lineup from the starters to the starting rotation to the rotation in the bullpen. And then, of course, you have a guy that goes by the Cuban Missile wearing number 54, throws from 99 to 102, a lefty, big lefty. I mean, and then he's got a dangerous breaking ball of a slider that just zooms down in the zone. But I'll give you the floor right now, buddy, to talk about the starting lineup of the Yankees, the rotation, the starting bullpen as well, and then of course the closure. So the floor is yours, Matt. Let's talk about the Yankees.
All right, so like you said, championship or bust, World Series or bust. And I agree with you. Everyone in the world, every Yankee fan agrees with you. Like you said, they're from 1 to 9 on their bench, bullpen, starting line, starting rotation. They got the World Series team. There's no reason why they shouldn't get there. Past 2 years, they had the team, should have done it. Well, whatever happened. But like you said, they're young. They were young, but now it's time they're their own. Glaber's the face of the franchise, I think, along with Judge. Them two together. Judge needs to stay healthy. I think the real key is DJ LeMahieu, getting him last year and signing him in free agency for almost nothing. The guy, arguably one of the best hitters in baseball. He can hit for power, phenomenal. And then, like you said, going out and getting Garrett Cole. Like Cooper said, deGrom is the best pitcher in New York. That's not true, because Garrett Cole is going to come in. He's going to get however many wins in this 60-game season, and he's going to be out there on Game 1 of the World Series out there in the Bronx. And I just do want to touch on the Mets real quick. I do agree. I think they're going to be young. They got that young talent, and I think we may have a Subway Series World Series in the near future, and I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, like you said, I could go off the list right now. And Duhar at third, Gio at third. You got Glaber at short, DJ LeMahieu, Luke Voigt, Gary Sanchez, Brett Gardner, John Clark Stanton, Aaron Hicks, Aaron Judge. And you got the starting rotation with Garrett Cole, Domingo Germán, Masahiro Tanaka, Severino when he comes back. You got Tommy Kahnle in the bullpen, Chad Green in the bullpen, and Montevino in the bullpen.
To walk out in the ninth.
And you see that guy, you hear that, oh no, and then here comes Aroldis Chapman in the ninth inning, ready to spin out 105 miles per hour into the glove of Gary Sanchez, probably hurting his hand for good reasons, but But here's the thing I have for the Yankees. You have the home run hitters, and I respect that, hitting in that ballpark. But this is what I want to see the Yankees do this year. I want these guys to hit for average this year. These guys need to hit. They need to play more small ball this year because of what the predicament is with this schedule. And I think with Aaron Boone in charge, yes, he'll make some good decisions, and yes, he'll make some bad decisions, but he needs to make the right ones at the right time. And the past 2 years, or I should say the past 3 years, I should say, of what the Yankees have suffered ultimately, losing to the Astros in 2017 when no one thought they were going to make the ALCS, then losing to my Boston Red Sox, which I thought two 100 win teams going at it. The rivalry, of course, I mean, it looked like the Yankees were going to be a walk in the park against the Red Sox, like hitting those home runs because the Red Sox had that so-called bad bullpen that they had, and then they just showed up and beat the Yankees in 4 games, and then the following year, depends how you say it. I mean, the Yankees had that World Series team in 2019. They lose to the Astros in 6 games. Of course, that Jose Altuve home run, and then the whole news starting, all this and that with the shooting scandals and the sign stealing, whatever it may be. And then I mean, it's whatever I guess you could say now, but I mean. And I hate to say it personally because you guys know I'm a diehard Red Sox fan through and through. They saw Mookie Betts get traded with David Price to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you gotta look at the Dodgers too. They literally got Mookie Betts and David Price for nothing, and in trade they got the Red Sox got a couple picks, of course, for Alex Verdugo, as well. But I mean, you look at the Dodgers, they will still be scary. They basically got Mookie and David Price for nothing, and I'll disagree with you on that with the Subway Series, World Series. I do think the Dodgers still have that in their step because, yet again, unless we all know what happens with Clayton Kershaw, he could be the best regular season pitcher in the whole league, and ultimately all things will go wrong in Shaz Ravine in Dodger Stadium when we have Clayton Kershaw on the mound because anything can happen with the Dodgers, and I really do feel bad because there's those times where they have it, they got the World Series in the bag, and ultimately it just goes away from them. So Coop and DeMarco, I know that both your teams are going to be very good, but I know you might be a little dismayed with me talking about my team because my team is just in a whirlwind of emotions with no Mookie, no David Price, and no Chris Sale. We barely have a starting rotation. And, I mean, with Eduardo Rodriguez and Nathan Eovaldi leading the charge on that, I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, I could see the Red Sox play spoiler. I mean, we have Christian Vasquez back in the plate. You got Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts back in third base or shortstop. You got Michael Chavis at second base, Mitch Willen at first base. You have Jane Martinez, arguably the best DH in the league. You have Andrew Benintendi, Jack Bailey Jr., and Kevin Pillar and/or Alex Verdugo back in the right field duties. And then, I mean, the bullpen goes from there. It speaks for itself. It's not going to be good this year. Then you have Brandon Workman with the closing duties. And it pains me to say it, but, like, I have no hopes for my team this year. But as my previous episode before, this was the team that got my squad a World Series. Like, this was the team that got my team the World Series. And it might be different, but, like, I could be angry and whatnot, but, like, I could be a little satisfied because of the 2018 World Series season and how that played about. But where can you see the AL East come about and ultimately because they will play 40 games with all each other, with the Rays and the Orioles and the Blue Jays, and also playing geographically teams like the Nats, the World Champs, the Braves, the Marlins, the Phillies, and the Mets. Where can you see both divisions actually tie up this season?
All right, so for the AL East, like you said, the shortened season, I think it might leave some playoff teams that are deserving out, and it might get some teams that shouldn't be there. I think it's my team's going to run it. I think the Yankees are going to run it. But anything can happen in division play. The Rays, they're sneaky team. They're young. They have talent. They got pitching. They have hitting. They got power. The Blue Jays, another sneaky team that can be good in a couple years with young talent, young raw talent. Vlad Jr., Kevin Biggio. But they got Hinrin Ju in the starting rotation this year. But I think the Yankees are going to run it. And then your Red Sox are right in there. They're another team. Benintendi, Bradley Jr., Devers, like you said, all those guys. They're players. Verdugo. I don't see why they can't be in the mix for second place, third place, you know? And then the Orioles, I think we all know where they're going to finish at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, but with the NL East, everybody's seen the Mets. They know they start hot, so with the shortened season, it gives less time for them to fall off. But the NL East is tough. I mean, the Braves are going to be a good team. Nats, defending World Series champions. So the division's tight. It will always be tight. And then you got, the Marlins hanging out down there in Miami. But, yeah, with NL East is tough. Like I said, the Mets, they always start hot. So we can, with the shortened season, it might eliminate that little downfall. But it could also make or break every other team in the league. Teams don't start hot. And you never know. The All-Star break is a lot of times where teams say, we're either busting or we're winning the World Series. So it's a lot of things that we're going to miss, and it's going to hurt a lot of teams, I feel. But it also will help a lot of teams like the Mets.
So let's move on to the NBA. I mean, the teams around here, the Knicks and the Nets, of course. I mean, the Knicks are like the debacle of the NBA. I mean, the Nets are there in the playing tournament, I believe. And, I mean, is there a team in this, like, Orlando bubble, as I called it the other episode ago, that will catch your eye? Maybe the Clippers, the Lakers, the Bucks, Celtics, or the Raptors, or maybe even a sleeper pick of the 76ers that could catch your eye and say, like, oh, this is the team that could be able to beat, because we all know who are probably the top two teams in the tournament that are going to be good. And ultimately, everyone says that no one's going to stop the Lakers. But do you have like any questions upon that to speak on?
So to touch on your sleeper teams, you mentioned one team that I'm going to talk about, and then another team you did not. The Celtics, I think they're the team to beat in the East. Yes, the Bucks, they're a heavy favorite in Vegas, everywhere. They got Giannis. But I think in a series, they got Brad Stevens, the Celtics, as a head coach, great coach in a series. It's not about just one game. The Bucks can blow them out one game. They come back, they trap Giannis, they make him have to dish it out. They close that. I think they got a starting five with Kemba, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They're all young ballers, players that can take over the game. And then on the West side, I don't know if they have the championship run in them, but definitely to make some noise is Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. With him coming back fully healthy, Kristaps Porzingis coming back fully healthy. They got Willie Cauley-Stein also down low. They got Seth Curry shooting. They got Tim Hardaway too. So they got the pieces. They're at full strength, full health. So I think Luka's going to be fun to watch play in the playoffs.
Coop, any thoughts on that? Or
I just think the whole time down in Orlando, the whole thing's going to be really cool to watch. It's going to be something completely different that nobody's ever really seen before. So I think the whole experience for us as fans and like those guys as players, I think it's going to be something interesting. The whole world's going to be tuned in. I'm really excited. I'm just a big basketball fan in general. I just like watching it, seeing everything pan out. So it's just something different, something that we'll never see again, hopefully. But it is definitely something I'm really excited to just tune in and watch.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew out of the NBA fortitude of being a fan, I guess you could say. 10 years ago, yesterday, everyone remembers the decision when LeBron James ultimately went to the Miami Heat and that how that played out and the whole, like, quote unquote, as you could say, super teams. And then I just fell off watching the NBA. But, like, now you can see, like, people, like, are starting to, like, watch it again because, like, you see guys go anywhere else, or you see all these draft lottery picks and these guys like get drafted. They all just whole new generation of high school and college basketball talent get put on. But let's like talk about now of the gaming side. Uh, NBA 2K, NBA 2K21 that's going to be out for the next gen console, not the current gen. That was the next gen years ago, but now the PS5, as in PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X are going to be now the next gen with all these new graphics and stuff. And day by day, they announce cover athletes. And first of all, for current gen, it's Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers, who is much deserving because I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. He never gets all the love because of where he's at in Portland and that market is. Him and TJ McCollum are a great dynamic duo, and they're both great players, and it's well deserved of Dame to get that recognition. And then, of course, everyone saw the other day, yesterday, in fact, Zion Williamson getting the cover athlete for the next gen consoles in 2K21. And ultimately today, I woke up with the good news to find out that the last cover athlete for the next gen or current gen Legends Edition will be the late great Mamba Kobe Bryant, with two versions, I believe, with the 8 and 24, both of which are for the current gen and the next gen. So for video game guys like you both, I mean, both playing 2K, Madden, NHL, MLB The Show, or any other kind of games, what are your reactions to these covers, I guess? Because one, I think it's monumental, and two, we've wanted like 2K to do this because we felt as fans and like sports video gamers, I guess, we felt that was the right decision to do because out of respect for Kobe Bryant.
So yeah, absolutely. I think the Legends Edition, which they do every year, I mean, how can you pick another legend other than Kobe, especially this year? I think that goes no questions asked. And then I really like that for the next gen. He's coming to face, hopefully going to be in the league for a while. They're maybe the next LeBron type of best player with that phenomenon around him. And then Dame Dollar, I think that's awesome because, like you said, he is so underrated. He plays out in Portland. He's a guy like Devin Booker who they can ball. They just don't get the recognition. Don't have that team to really compete. But I think that it was real deserving, real cool to give the fans someone else rather than the top superstars and give some love to other players.
Good.
I mean, pretty much hit everything, but no, definitely with Kobe, there's nobody else that they could have given it to. It's his year, and I believe that that's just the right pick. There's nobody else you could have chose. So I think Kobe was the right thing. And like you said, with Dame, super underrated, and he's a baller. He deserves it, and I think that's just a cool thing, cool tribute to him and the city of Portland.
That's good. So we'll wrap it off here. Guys, I thank you again. I'm sorry if the internet connection was a little buffy. I could understand your answers to my questions, but it's a whirlwind of events here. I'm very excited for the upcoming month. And any final thoughts for you guys to speak upon? I'll give you the floor.
All right. Well, just wanted to say thank you, Campbell. We honestly wish you the best of luck in your endeavors with this. Thank you for having us on. Hopefully we come back on. And thank you for bringing us on as Chief, Chief Gaming, and helping us promote our thing. And you can follow us on Instagram at Chief Gaming. And yeah, thank you again. We really appreciate it, Campbell.
That's it. Thanks, man.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever it may be. Go do something today. Sports is the beacon of light and the beacon of hope. That was Chief Gaming, represented by Matthew DeMarco and Michael Cooper. And make sure you go check out their Instagram handle. Go check out their Twitch streams. They do sports. They do other gaming as well, first-person shooters. For myself, I don't recommend that because of my hand-eye coordination, but I rather prefer playing multiple sports games. But a great month coming in. Remember, sports is the beacon of light and beacon of hope. Again, this is the Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you again. Thank you all. I wish everyone from the other day, neighbors up north, happy Canada Day. And to anyone and everyone in America celebrating this weekend, have a safe and happy 4th of July. Barbecue, whatever, with the restrictions, I guess. Have your mask on. Follow the rules. And, yeah, that is all.